So today we're doing factoring by grouping. You use factoring by grouping when you have four terms and there's usually no greatest common factor across all the terms. You split the polynomial down the middle, making sure to keep the sign with the right-hand number. Factor out the GCF from each side of the split. You should have two sets of parentheses that look exactly the same. Write down what's in the parentheses in one set of parentheses and gather up what's left into another set of parentheses. You always check it by foiling. So this sounds a lot more complicated than it is. So here we have four terms in this polynomial, and we're going to split it right down here. 4ab and 8b, the greatest common factor is 4b, leaving a plus 2 in the parentheses. Here, the greatest common factor is 3, leaving a plus 2 in the parentheses. So again, we have identical parentheses, and that's exactly what we need for this type of foiling, this type of factoring. And then we take what's left, the 4b and the plus 3, and make that the other factor. So this looks very familiar. It's what we just did in the last unit. We're going to check this to make sure we get back to the original. So by using FOIL or double distribution, we are going to check this. 4ab, 8b, 3a plus 6. Beautiful. Works out great. So let's look at another example. Here we have 3x minus 5y plus 3y minus 21. Again, no common factors, so we're going to split it down the middle. And we see that 5x is the common factor here, leaving 7 minus y. 3 is the common factor here, with y minus 7 being in the parentheses. But here's a little wrench in the works. 7 minus y and y minus 7 are not the same thing. They're actually opposite signs. So the way we're going to try and fix this is multiplying this whole thing by negative 1. So instead of positive 3, we're going to say negative 3, which makes this a negative y and this a positive 7. Are we still correct? Let's check. Negative 3 times negative y is positive 3y. Negative 3 times positive 7 is negative 21. So it works. We really haven't changed anything except that sign in front. And now we have identical parentheses. 7 minus y, negative y plus 7. We could turn it around. It would be 7 minus y. So let's go ahead and write it out here with 7 minus y in one parenthesis. And what's outside the identical parentheses is what makes that second factor in that parenthesis. Now we're going to FOIL and check and make sure that we end up where we need to go. So here we have 35x minus 21 minus 5xy plus 3y. Exactly what we have here, a slightly different order, but as we know, as long as the sign is correct, the order doesn't matter. So here we're going to do it again. 2xy plus 7x, what's the greatest common factor? X, you say? Totally correct. And here we have 2y plus 7. This is somewhat of a dilemma, because here we have negative 2y minus 7, but no common factor. Yet we notice, because we're very observant, 2y plus 7, negative 2y minus 7 is exactly the same except for what? Except for the fact that these are both negative. So we're going to go ahead and put a negative 1 out there, and then change the signs here, and yes, now we have identical parentheses. So we have 2y plus 7 as the identical parentheses, and outside of each of those parentheses we have an x and a negative 1. So let's FOIL and check this, especially when you have these little sign changes. FOILing and checking just makes sense. So here I have 2xy minus 2y plus 7x minus 7. Totally correct. We're going to go ahead and do it with this one. So here, common factor is 3a. Now, if you want to turn off the video and try this one by yourself, that would be great. Again, we have this issue where it's opposite signs in the parentheses. So we're going to change the plus 4 to a negative 4. And make it negative b plus 5. And again, because the signs are the same, they are identical parentheses. So 5 minus b is one set of parentheses, and what's outside of the identical parentheses is the other set. Let's go ahead and FOIL and check this. Checking all the signs to make sure that they're the same, we find that it checks perfectly. All right. Here you notice that we have several different examples. Okay, so now we have several different examples. I moved some to another page so we'd have more room. This is a binomial, this is a trinomial, and this is a polynomial with 4 terms. On the binomial, we're going to use the method distributive property backwards, looking for just common factor. And in this case, it's 3d leaving 7c minus 1. Please note you have to have a 1 there so that when you distribute back, you end up with 21cd minus 3d. So make sure you don't forget the 1. Looking here at this trinomial, again, we don't use factoring by grouping. It's a trinomial. We look for a greatest common factor. In this case, it's 5 and v. Again, we need 1 as the placeholder. And here we're doing factoring by grouping. And this time, the parentheses turn out identical in the beginning. So here's one factor, and here's the other factor. And I expect you to FOIL and check to make sure that we end up at exactly the same place. So let's look at the 2 on the next page. And if you would please do those for homework, that would be great, and we will discuss them in class. Thanks for watching.